I'd like to call tonight's select board meeting to order. It's Monday, March 25th. We usually start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on the agenda is AP warrant number 21, the amount of $344,938.37.
I move that we approve AP warrant number 21 in the amount of $344,938.37.
And I second that. So it's been moved and seconded to approve AP warrant number 21 in the amount of $344,938.37. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is payroll journal 381 in the amount of $11,754.37.
I move that we approve payroll journal number 381 in the amount of $11,754.37.
To move in second to approve payroll journal number 381, the amount of $11,754.37. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the select board minutes, Monday, March 11th, regular meeting.
I move that we approve the select board minutes of Monday, March 11th, 2024 regular meeting.
I second that motion. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of March 11th, 2024 as written. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. This is an opportunity from any resident of the town of Pownell to step forward and be heard by the select board. Seeing none, we'll move on. Next item is department head reports. Department head reports can be viewed on the respective website pages. Click on the department and you'll see the report. Ms. Day, do you have any questions for the department heads that are here?
No, I do not.
Nor do I. Do you have any report as a select board member?
No, I do not.
Neither do I. Next item on the agenda is new business. Real estate request form, Shane Brady, map 6, lot 2. Becky.
So we're tabling that pending review with the town attorney. So we sent everything to her last week and she said it would probably take a few weeks to do the whole title search and come back with some information regarding that map and lot.
You have anything to report out about the change in law about how?
Yes, absolutely. So a couple of things. So there was a change in state law last year about how towns can dispose of tax liened property that they collect through the foreclosure process. That change in law makes our town-owned policy void at this point. So we're going to have to come up with a new town-owned real estate request policy when it comes to terms of that. Basically, one of the biggest things is if we tax acquire property and we sell it, we are only allowed to keep what is owed on taxes, and anything above and beyond that is still returned to the original owner. We also have to offer the original owner first sort of dibs on the property as well. So we would need to come up with a policy that states that and then a process after. The town attorney has sent me a draft copy and we will have to start reviewing with the select board to draft something that's specific to Pownell, but a lot of changes coming.
So until we do that, we will no longer be able to accept any real estate purchase requests.
That's correct.
Any questions, Ms. Day?
No.
Next item on the agenda. Yep, go.
Big Road, does this include all the properties, even ones acquired before 1972, like the grandfather, or does it go back?
I am not sure how far it goes back. I'm not sure if it goes beyond all the way to everything we've ever acquired, or if it goes back to just this law. That's questions that I have for her as we start to draft this.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is rough draft warrant and budget recommendations. Becky.
Hey, so first to note, which is actually another agenda item, Pownell Elementary School location for town meeting. So I did request the town, the school, and they came back that they're having their septic system done and they don't know the exact timing of that work. So there's a chance that we won't be able to use the auditorium. So in speaking with John, in the header of the warrant, we have still listed the school with parentheses, alternate location Mallet Hall, and that would be known literally just a few days before the actual town meeting. There's just no way to know. So we'll get the information out if it does change venues, and I'm gonna make sure that that wording is okay with attorney. So that's one quick thing. Do you want me to kind of just go down through the articles one at a time?
I will read them and people can comment on them as we go.
Great.
So Article 1 is to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Article 2 is to elect by secret ballot the following officers, 1 select board assessor for 3-year term, 1 cemetery commissioner for a 3-year term. The ordinances, Article 3, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 amendments to the Pownell Solid Waste Collection and Disposal Ordinance be enacted. And a copy of the amendments shall be available at the town meeting.
So I did, in your clipped paper, I did a red line where it's reversing the pay as you throw. So it's sort of striking out that language. So that's, we want to keep, I think, the ordinance intact because Casella and Eco Maine are still a part of that. So that was kind of my initial work on just revising the ordinance to remove the pay as you throw.
Okay, now. So we'll have to. The timing is gonna be really interesting here because you'll have to use the bags till Stella gets the robot.
They told me the truck is expected in June and the implementation end of July or sometime in August. So I think that they're just gonna have to come July 1, know that there won't, if we repeal that portion of it, that there will not be pay as you throw starting July 1. Yep.
Thank you. You have any questions about that, Kate?
Not at this time.
Okay. Article 4, shall the town vote to rescind floodplain management ordinance and subsequent amendments which was originally enacted at the March 9th, 2009 special town meeting.
At the advice of our town planner, he felt it was warranted to do an article where we're getting rid of the 2009 and then the next article is adopting the new one. I do have a question to the town attorney on this one. So in the 2009 adoption, the title page says floodplain and not plan. So I need to just find out if we have to say that we're sort of rescinding the floodplain ordinance because that's the title page, but it's, I think if we just put floodplain, AKA floodplain, we're covered, but I'm gonna find that out from her.
All right. Article 5, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 floodplain management ordinance for the town of Pownell be enacted 2024, June 17th. And effective June 20th, be enacted. All right, so that just gets us in.
That's the new one that we need to adopt by June 20th.
Kate, any questions?
No.
Article 6, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 amendments to the town of Pownell land use and zoning ordinance 400 definitions be enacted.
That is some definition changes that planning board and North Star and town planner have been working on. Exhibits will be coming.
Article 7, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 amendments to the town of Pownell land use and zoning ordinance section 504 zoning districts be enacted.
So these next two articles actually have to do with LD 2003, the affordable housing. So they're changes to bring us in compliance with LD 2003 that goes into effect on July 1st, 2024.
Article 8, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 Amendments to the Town of Pownell Land Use and Zoning Ordinance Section 600 Performance Standards be enacted.
And that again goes to LD 2003.
Okay, so these aren't numbered, so
No, I stopped numbering because I don't know if we're gonna shift around. The first section was pretty solid in the numbering, but after that, it moves a lot.
so the next one will be the capital improvement articles. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $155,000 for the capital project fund. Budget committee recommends to the select board $155,000. Pretty self-evident.
So that language under there was something that came up in the budget committee meeting last week when they were voting on their recommendations about how they recommend an amount, but not necessarily where the money comes from. So after some discussion with the town attorney with them, this was language that we came up. Now, I haven't worked that language through the rest of it because I just wanted to make sure that that sounded appropriate.
Okay, do you understand? So it's different. So this first article is different. It's going to be that the budget committee recommends to the select board, and the select board will recommend approval to the town meeting. And will also recommend where that money will come.
Yes, I understand.
Good. Next article, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate $300,000 from the unassigned fund balance to the capital project fund. That's just a way to move some funds around to help the capital project fund. Next article, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $482,980 from the capital projects fund for the purchase of the following items to see what action the town will take. For public safety, air packs, $109,519, communications, $26,312 plus a $61,000.
Oop, I have a typo there.
61,719. A bunch of money from Cumberland County grant and a repeater system for $17,400. So you're gonna have to have a separate warrant for the public works.
Okay.
And the next one would be Public Works Freightliner dump truck, truck 2 replacement, $268,000. Select board recommends approval. What's that with that, Kate?
Jesse has a quick comment,
So, do you want me to come up?
please.
So the appropriation that we're requesting for the repeater system includes a battery backup system for the repeater to keep the repeater up and going. If the ARPA funds get approved for the generator up there, we no longer need about $6,000 of that for the battery backup system. So I suggest we put the ARPA request ahead of that. That way I can amend it down at town meeting.
Either that'll get tricky because the funds will stay in the capital improvement. So the repeater system could be up to 17. And then you could use up to that. The remaining funds that you don't use will just go back to the capital projects.
However you want to do it. I was trying to make it cleaner.
Well, you might want to make it simpler, but
Cleaner.
that will make it really messy because the funds are different. Okay, thank you.
Ooh.
Next item. See if the town will raise and appropriate $11,941 for the part-time IT position. Compensation $10,920, FICA 836, Medicare 158, earn Family Medical Leave 27. Select board recommends approval.
I am working on a job description for the exhibit. I just need to fine tune it and then we'll have that. I'll have that to you for the next meeting.
Thank you. Article to see if the town will raise and appropriate $26,791 for a part-time public works position. Compensation 24/5, FICA 1874, Medicare 355, earned family medical leave 62. Select board recommends approval. Okay with that?
And we're working on a job description for that one as well.
Next article to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate dollars for general government.
So you haven't voted on your recommendations yet, so that's kind of part of tonight's discussion. The budget committee has, so this sheet right here is what they have voted on. So we can either visit these one at a time as we go through the article if you are ready to vote on your recommendations, or we can visit this after.
Stop right here for a second. Let's table this. Let's get to the conservation easement.
Okay.
The gentleman,
Absolutely.
moving, and then we'll come right back. So we are on last article, page 2 of 8. You had said we have a spreadsheet somewhere for this?
Yes, it looks like this. Yep.
All right. All right, so we're gonna table that and we'll go right to the conservation. We'll be here forever with that one, so. So, conservation easement. Becky, you want to introduce this?
Yeah, so the Conservation Commission, along with Royal River Conservation Trust, has been working for a couple of years, I believe, on this agreement on map 9, lot 43, Elmwood Road property. This draft right here before you has been through our attorney. She came back with sort of the all clear, as long as you're comfortable with the language and the town is comfortable with the language. So this is now moving, at this point, it's up to the select board if you're moving it onto the warrant with this agreement, this contract.
So is this going to be something that needs to have a public hearing, or is this go right to the warrant?
I believe it would be part of our regular warrant public hearing. I will find out if it needs to have a specific one, but we can incorporate that with the public hearings that we do have coming up.
Matt, what's your take? Does this feel pretty good? Does the Conservation Commission feel like this is have you hopefully read it?
Yes, we feel the right direction. Property.
You have any comment, Kate?
I'd be interested to hear a little more from you, Matt, about, just for the record, about the committee's sort of stand on any changes or just the finalization of this has been a long time coming, and if you don't mind sort of summarizing a little bit where you feel like this has ended up at this point regarding what your initial goals were and
Well,
how well you feel it meets that goal.
as the Conservation Commission, we're the stewards of all town-owned land. And with that charge, our position has been and continues to be that we want to keep all town-owned lands, the large pieces and the small pieces. The small pieces, the little half acre, 1 acre between neighbors are just as important as these large ones, because that creates the rural character and open feel of Pownell. So, but our focus has been lately on trying to preserve these large ones. And, the only person that remembered that in 1972, the town voted not to sell any town land was Sherry Dietrich. And she reminded us all of that. So, but because it was so long ago, we've been working on trying to make this permanent. And, it's very unique that Pownell has so much forest. So this is, our first step, and our ultimate goal would be to have all the town forest protected forever. So that it would be part of Pownell for the future. So this was the first one. We had a survey on it recently. And, you know, this is a goal we have been working on. So I think, you know, it achieves a lot of the goals for town and the town people. You know, it'll still be open for everyone. And, you know, it's just, once again, trying to, you know, we know that change is happening very fast. And this is how we feel like we can, you know, commit these properties and, you know, and preserve them for the town of Pownell for the future. And we've been working on this, and I think it's a good win for everyone.
In your assessment as the head of the committee, you feel like everything in this document satisfies what the committee is kind of looking for in favor of what control the town wants and how it chooses to use the land in concert with
I do.
the conservation
Yep.
trust.
The town still has, you know, with working with Royal River Conservation Trust, they still have control of the land. We're not just handing the reins over and not having a say in what happens or how it's managed. You know, for example, like recently, and I noticed the Falmouth town lands, the trails have been closed because it's mud season. You know, so we'll be able to do things like that and, you know, really keep an eye on things and make sure it's going the right way. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
And the Conservation Commission has moved and voted to approve it. That's found in the minutes.
We are meeting tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm gonna move that we place this Conservation Commission on the town meeting warrant. If and only if the Conservation Commission itself votes to approve it. So,
I thought that the town,
can we move in second before we have more discussion? Thank you. Okay, it's been moved in second.
okay, I understood at one of the select board meetings not too long ago that the select board thought that it was wise to have a outside firm look at all the town lands before you make any decisions on that.
You're correct. That's gonna be in this year's warrant.
So we're going to vote on that at the same time we're voting on this at town meeting.
Yep. I don't know why you're staring me down.
Well, because I'm not staring you down, I'm trying to get clarification. At one of the select board meetings, the select board agreed to have all the town land looked at by an outside firm before they made any decisions about moving land into any different kind of category.
You're correct. This item has been in the works for 2 years. So this was in, when we made the decision with suggestion from the town planner to appraise and assess the value of town property, it is a reaction to the 2 years' work the Conservation Commission and request for land sale, so that it is, I think, in order to honor the work the Conservation Commission has done to create this easement, this will be on the warrant, as well as the appraisal item from impact fees. You see any contradiction in that?
No, the town's voting on both the warrant articles, so the town's choosing yes or no on both of them. I think it just depends on the placement, which article. I haven't written this one yet. I just have a placeholder for it at this point.
So we'll have to figure that out. Because I think probably we wouldn't be able to vote the appraisal before we moved on this one. And then if we did move on this one and then the appraisal item came up, that might seem like a little bit of chicanery. I think that was Chief Peters' point.
So right now I have the appraisal before the placeholder for the easement. But that's why we're reviewing all this to figure out where they all go.
So I'm wondering if the appraisal warrant item, and I'm just thinking out loud, came before this, then we could vote to, well, we couldn't vote to approve this based on the condition of the appraisal.
Mhm.
You're gonna rescue us.
Is it at all possible to include an exception in the language for this problem?
Well, I mean, Chief Peters, or I guess it's Mr. Peters has brought up a good point that so say where the town votes to approve the conservation easement, and then the next item or 5 items down, we move to do an appraisal of all town property. I suppose at that point in time, this will still be town property. Kind of,
It'll still be owned by the town of Pownell, even with this easement.
but an appraisal of this piece would be moot because it already is defined by the easement.
Isn't the this appraisal, what, I thought it was more of a recommendation of what they thought the best use and practices is, not necessarily a dollar value of appraisal.
That's correct. Correct.
Okay.
Right? That's your understanding.
That's what I understand.
So the appraisal could be the best use, but let's put the cart before the horse. The appraisal could be the best use would be to put in a conservation easement.
Sounds like this might be a question for Natalie.
Thank you for bringing it up. That's a good question for our attorney.
You know, once again, this checks a lot of the boxes that the citizens have wanted from the comprehensive, you know, about open space and rural character and all that stuff.
We'll do our utmost to put this on the warrant. You guys have worked a long time, but I appreciate the work. All right, we'll table until we talk to Natalie,
Yes.
our town attorney. Just try to figure out how,
I understand.
because we wouldn't want this to go down in flames because of contradictory language at the town meeting and you have someone who raises a hand. Let's just take Mr. Peters, for example, raises his hand and say, but what about the other article? Okay, we want to,
We're not trying to backdoor.
no, there's no insinuation at all. We just want to make it as transparent as possible.
I would still review tomorrow night at your meeting and go through that though, just so that piece is absolutely done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't think of any other way except for talk to the attorney.
I was thinking along the same lines as Kate, wondering if we would put an exception or an amendment to an article if,
Or we might,
Yeah.
we might have to drop the appraisal.
Well, that's the other thing is maybe in the language, we say that we're just trying to assess the most proper use of these lands with the town's best interests in mind or as stewards of the land. 1972.
so the article that I have written is to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to 15,000 from the dedicated impact fee recreation fund for assessment of all town-owned parcels through contracted services. It's basically the same language we've used in the past for contracted services. So at that point, it is saying all.
All right, well, what's our time frame to get this on the warrant? How much time do we have?
Our first public hearing is tentatively scheduled for April 22nd. However, we have talked about moving it a week just because we're still in draft form.
Any ideas?
I think I've got to just talk to the town attorney to make sure we have no contradiction. See if I can get a quick answer, but I wouldn't have anything for you until the April 8th meeting, which at that point, we're trying to get more of a final version of the warrant to go to an April 22nd public hearing. If we move the public hearing a week, it gives us a little bit of extra time.
Okay, keep both warrant items in the rough draft.
Okay.
Forward, unless we have contradictory language from the.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get language from her too for that article, so it would be a good conversation to have about both items.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry. about this thing. All right, go back to our town warrant. This is why you have a run through, huh? All right, so okay, we need to approve these articles, so general government, the total is 557,402.
So they approved 564,171, but that includes the article with the IT position. In the warrant, we now have it separated. So if you approve the 564,171, I mean, that will be the whole budget, including that previous warrant article. I think you're fine. I'll just adjust the math on that general government warrant article. Same will hold true with public works for the part-time position.
Okay. So Kate, you want to make a motion?
Need you to advise, where are we?
Yeah,
Uh,
we're right on last article on the page 2 of 8.
But you want to use the figures from the budget committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, but use the figures from the budget committee sheet because those are the proposed.
I'll make the motion. I move that the select board vote to approve $564,171 for the general government.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Next article, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $12,350 for human services. I move that we approve $12,350 for social human services.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the article for human services, $12,350. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Next article, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $48,900 for Mallet Hall. Can you tell me why there's a discrepancy between the budget and the warrant?
I have not put in the amount on the warrant. The FY 2025 request would be for 48,900. Last year was 40,330.
Okay.
Yep.
48,900.
Yep, 48,900.
Okay. Second that?
I move that yes, I second that.
Moved and seconded to approve the Budget Committee's recommendation for Mallet Hall at 48,900. All in favor? Next item is public safety. Budget Committee, I move that we approve $184,839 on the public safety warrant.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the public safety warrant at 184,839. Any discussion? All in favor? Next item is the Public Works. I move that we recommend, we approve the Budget Committee's recommendation of $948,670.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Budget Committee's recommendation for Public Works at 948,670. All in favor? Next item is solid waste. I move that we approve the Budget Committee's recommendation for solid waste at $153,223.
I second.
Moving seconded to approve the Budget Committee's recommendation for solid waste at 153,223. All in favor? Next item is the Pownell Central Water Association. I move that we approve the Pownell Central Water request for $337.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Pownell Center Water appropriation at 3700. All in favor? Next item is the cemeteries. I move that we approve the cemetery request at $6,000.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Budget Committee's recommendation for cemeteries at $6,000. All in favor? Next article is debt service. I move that we approve the Budget Committee's recommendation of 271,164 for debt service and other bonds.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Budget Committee's recommendation of debt service at $271,164. All in favor? Next item on the agenda is
On the warrant, it's for Recreation Committee. Their request was 500. On the budget sheet, they actually combined a couple things. So you've already approved the Capital Projects Fund, which was the next thing on the budget sheet. The other taxation funds are two different warrant articles. One's for the Economic Development and Sustainability, which has a warrant article coming up, and the other was for the Recreation Committee of 500.
so the Recreation Committee, I move that we approve the Recreation Budget Committee's recommendation of $500
Mhm.
for the Recreation Committee.
Second.
Moving second to approve the Budget Committee's recommendation of $500 for the Recreation Committee. Any discussion? Seeing none, all- Next item is see if the town will appropriate up to $11,200 from the coronavirus fiscal recovery funds, AKA American Rescue Plan or ARPA funds, received by the town for the federal government for the following project. Backup generator for the North Station Fire Department building to run the repeater tower.
I move that we approve this article to appropriate up to $11,200 for the backup generator.
From ARPA funds.
From
Second that.
ARPA funds.
Any discussion? Before we, so Fire Chief Peters mentioned, so if we do we need to keep the repeater money in? Right, I do this right. We need to keep the repeater money in capital improvements. Fire chief has asked for 17,400. Have you made sure that in the language will be up to?
I will add the up to. I don't have it in this one, but I will put the up to. Yep.
So then. If that is approved, Jesse, you saying that we wouldn't need to vote on this?
No, I'm saying you wouldn't need that much. We would only need about 11.5 most
From capital.
from cap.
This would come out of our.
Sorry, I got cart before the horse there. Okay. All in favor? Next article is to see if a town will appropriate up to $60,000 from the coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds, AKA American Rescue Plan, ARPA funds received by the town from federal government for the following project: renovating 2 rooms in Mallet Hall for additional space. Kate,
I move that we approve the article to see if the town will appropriate $60,000 from ARPA funds to improve the 2 rooms for additional office space in Mount Hall.
I second that. Is there any further discussion? If they ask, what are we gonna do with the rooms?
We are replacing the floor, fixing the walls, putting in heat, cool pumps, running electrical for additional outlets and stable internet out there for the phone lines and the computer systems and a new printer.
And that'll be the town planner office.
Correct.
All in favor? Good. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,000 for the Economic Development and Sustainability Committee to investigate water capacity in the village district as part of the work charged to the committee. Okay.
Can I just quickly say, so these next 2 articles are basically for the same thing, although one is from taxation and one is from undesignated funds. We've had 2 different conversations in workshops about where the money was coming from. So you really only need to choose which one of those articles that you want, and I'll strike the other. We had a conversation with a town planner at the end of January about it coming from unassigned funds. And then there was the last budget committee, it was requested from economic development. However, it wasn't completely talked about where it was coming from. But it was in a workshop, most of the conversations had. So I wrote the articles from either or.
Doing that. I don't think this is appropriate.
Okay.
So
So I move to see that we approve the article to see if the town will raise and appropriate $15,000 for the Economic Development and Sustainability Committee.
to investigate water
To
capacity.
investigate water capacity in the village district.
I second that motion. Any further? Favor? Next one is out. Placeholder for future facilities committee. What do you think they're gonna ask?
So Bo had come to you in January asking for a placeholder because they were working on grant funding, but I'm not sure that that is going to be ready. I will check back in with him. That may disappear.
Okay, the next article is see if the town will vote to raise and accept and apply.
I will need to get you that figure. I have that. That one we might have to table until next meeting.
So done. Spreadsheets here. All right, business article. See if the town will vote to appropriate up to $12,560 from dedicated impact fee, open space funds for surveying town-owned land, Sweetser Road, map 4, lot 20.
That was the estimate that we got for doing that from Mr. Mann.
I move that we approve to include article to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $12,560 from the dedicated impact fee open space funds for surveying town-owned lands, which road map 4, map lot 20.
Second that, is that your committee's recommendation? Yes. That piece? Any more further discussion? All in favor? Next article, to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $15,000 from the dedicated impact fee recreation fund for assessment of all town-owned parcels throughout contracted services. Through contracted services. Okay.
I move to see if To include the article to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $15,000 from the dedicated impact fee recreation fund for assessment of all town-owned parcels through contracted services, pending consulting with the, I don't want to say that, so
Why do we have to pay an outside source $15,000 to tell the citizens of Pownell what to do with town-owned land?
This is a recommendation from our town planner in response to multiple requests for purchasing town land. Because there is pressure from Augusta to make town land available for whatever the word they're using now, workforce, affordable. The town planner thought it would be a good idea to have a documented assessment based on the comprehensive plan on what is the highest value for the town. Value not meaning dollars, value meaning allegiance to the wishes of the residents that are expressed in the comprehensive plan. Kind of a way to in court to justify the town holding on to property. Is that, yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna be, can I say that?
What's up?
Is litigation already pending?
Potential.
Potential litigation pending. So we're just trying to, align the town's conservation commission's comprehensive plans view of what town land should be. And I don't think we can do it without some kind of professional development survey. Yeah, I think just because we say we like it, I don't think that's gonna work in court against state legislation that's trying to make any open space available for affordable housing. There's gonna be a lot of pressure, man. So, I'm just wondering if we should table approval of this until we hear from our attorney. Would you mind doing that, Kate?
I think that's a great idea.
Let's table that. Next article is to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate up to $300,000 from unassigned fund balance to minimize tax mill rate increase. Kate?
I move that we include the article to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate up to $300,000 from the unassigned fund balance to minimize tax mill increase.
I second that. Any further discussion?
I had a question following last year's town meeting about how we come to that amount of 300,000 and whether it should be more.
Well, there's a state mandated minimum amount that we need to keep in our unassigned fund balance. There is there's an algorithm that we go through to try to set the mill rate after we get our school board bill, our county bill, and Donna does town evaluation. It has been historically, there's never enough to minimize tax bill. We could put all of it in the tax bill, probably will still go up this year. So it's been a historic figure that we put $300,000 in there, bring the unassigned fund balance down close to the minimum. We don't want to be a banker for taxpayer money. we want to be prudent, and have enough money in that to secure the town's debt. So municipal budgeting, and you'll see again when we set the mill rate, there's a lot of supposing. I don't think there's a rational reason for setting it at $300,000, except for that's what we've done. It only goes so far. We can't complete that fund balance. So I think Becky and I have looked at the projected fund balance, because we won't know what it is until we do the mill rate in July.
I have the audited from last June 30th balance, but yeah, you're right. I won't know. We won't know when we set tax rate what the new unassigned fund balance is. Because the audit will be after that. Yeah.
Know what the mill rate, how we won't know. The mill rate is gonna go up, so.
The only thing that I know is the county tax bill, because I received it today. Everything else, because until town meeting vote happens, until RSU 5 budget validation happens, which is the week before, Dawn is still doing field work, and we don't get CMP's valuation until the last week of June. It's due June 30th, and they send it the very last week of June, right at the end. So there's so many factors that even if we projected what we thought it was gonna be, we're still kind of, we have a pretty big target that we're looking at trying when we try to come up with a figure.
Is there a way to, in retrospect, investigate that amount regarding helping taxpayers keep the taxes down?
So historically, I can only go back 15 years, but historically, $300,000, I mean, we haven't, there was a time we had 4 years in a row where our mill rate didn't go up because $300,000 mitigated the increase in expenses. This year it's not going to do that. This year it is going to be palliative. It's not gonna, we're not gonna be able to keep the mill rate at the same. I think Becky is thinking, and this is just an estimate, no, with all those unknowns, they're gonna go from 18 to 21. It's a really big increase. And that's not even, I mean, I've looked at the school budget, not too optimistic, so there's not enough money in the unassigned fund balance to minimize the sting of this year's mill rate.
And the outlier in that 18 to the 21 is that's going off last year's or our current tax year's valuation, not knowing that. I mean, that could mean a larger jump or it could mean a much smaller jump, but I just won't know until the end of June.
Sorry, that's a bad answer.
I don't think there is a good answer. I appreciate your trying to.
I don't think I can add anything more.
Hmm.
We approve that?
You need to vote.
Did I second that?
You did second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Next item is to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate funds remaining in the Pownell Center Water Association operating funds at the end of fiscal year 25 to the PCWA Reserve Fund. I'll move to do that. That's just taking any money that's left over in last year's appropriation and putting it in our sinking fund for the water industry.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Motion carries. Placeholder for acquisition of North Pownell Hall.
I need to work on the language for that one. I might need the town attorney's help there.
That's for $1.
For $1. In the previous discussion, when I was going through last meeting, it said to explore the idea of,
Absolutely.
so it's not saying we are going to,
We're gonna
okay.
See if the town will authorize, the town meeting will authorize the select board to proceed. And
Okay. I think I can come up with the language then.
good. The next item is the placement for the easement.
I just need to work on that language as well, plus have the conversation with the attorney.
Okay. Next item is a written ballot. That's just the property tax levy limit. I move that we approve, put that on the warrant.
I second.
You don't need me to read it, do you? All in favor? The next article, we don't need to approve these. We'll approve them all at once, see if the
Yeah.
town will vote to set September 15th, December 15th, March 15th, June 15th, as dates in which quarter taxes should be doable. And to charge interest at the rate of 8%, 8.5% per year.
Oh, let me fix that.
Is it 8?
It's 8.5% is the max that we can go this year.
Next one is to see if the town will permit the tax collector or their designee to waive unintentional tax interest payment shortage amount not to exceed $5, and to see if the town will vote to authorize tax collector to accept payment of real estate property taxes not yet due or assessed. I move we approve those.
I second.
All in favor? Next article, to see if the town will vote to set 4.25% as the rate to be paid by the town on abated taxes pursuant to 36 MSRA, section 506A, and authorize such interest paid on abatements granted to be appropriated from overlay funds or, if necessary, from unassigned fund balance.
I move that we include the article to see if the town will vote to set 4.25. It's a rate to be paid.
Yeah, I second that. All in favor? Next article is to see if the town will vote to authorize select board to transfer not more than 3% of the town's budget expenditures between budget line items within an individual department, provided that the town's total budget expenditures shall not be increased. We've always had that. I move we approve that.
Second.
All in favor? Next article, to see if the town will vote to authorize select board to transfer any unexpended funds to the carry forward accounts within departments to complete projects from the previous fiscal year. Move that we approve that.
I second.
All in favor? Next item is to see if the town will vote to authorize select board and the town treasurer on behalf of the town to rent, sell, otherwise dispose of any parcel of real estate or portion thereof acquired by the town of Pownell between June 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024 for non-payment of taxes thereon, of such terms as they deem advisable. Is this warrant item?
This may need to go now, given the new state law, and then need to adopt policy. So I will check in with Natalie on that one.
Next article, to see if the town will vote to authorize select board and town treasurer on behalf of the town to accept any gifts, unanticipated donations, or pass-through funds that may be provided by individuals, business associates, charitable groups, or other organizations which have not been listed in any of the previous articles. Select board determines that gifts, donations, and pass-through funds and their purposes are in the best interest of the town and to expend such funds for their intended purposes. I move we put that warrant item on the warrant.
I second.
All in favor? Next item, to see if the town will vote to authorize select board to seek, accept, disperse grant funds from private or state federal agencies for the purpose so designated in each specific. I move we approve that.
I absolutely second.
All in favor? Last article is to see if the town will vote to allocate funds received from the registration of snowmobile clubs, snowmobiles to the Rocky Coast Riders and the Tri-Town Penguin Snowmobile Club for the purpose of maintaining the snowmobile trails which are open to the general public without charge, snowmobile purposes, and any other uses that may be authorized by the property owner. I move that we approve that.
I second.
Favor?
And Rocky Coast Riders is the new legal name. It was formerly, it's still the North Yarmouth, just in case you're wondering why the name sounds a little bit different, but we had to make sure we incorporated the current name in that article.
We got some work to do.
I got some work to do.
All right, so next item on the agenda is the Pownell Elementary School location. for town meeting? You've already.
We
talked
did talk about that, yeah.
I'm wondering if we might also consider porta potties instead of moving it here. I have a feeling it's gonna be a large. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. I wondered about the use of maybe Durham Community School since it's in the RSU. It's not, I mean, could we do that?
It would be heresy to have our.
It was just close, that's why.
Nothing against the established.
I second that, John.
And we have to table the
Yep.
next item, which is the fee schedule. GP cog delegates.
Every year we give them 2 delegates and an alternate. Last year, we only did 2 delegates and no alternate. So they were just asking. So you and Andy are the current delegates and there's no alternate. So I said I would bring this forth.
I think it's the onus of the junior select person. That alternate.
I can tell you it doesn't put any extra work on you.
That we assign the junior select board person, that would be me as alternate.
All in favor? Totally, heartily endorse that.
I will let them know.
Next item, quitclaim deed, map 8, lot 23, Chandler Brook Properties, LLC.
So they sent that to me. It's from a tax lien from the 70s. So the statute has run out on it. We have seen this in the past with other ones. They do not know why they did not find that the first time around in title searches when that happened a few years back. So they sent the quitclaim deed to see if you would approve that and sign off. The lien is attached to that document on the back end.
Where's the property located?
I would have to look at your document. I don't have it in front of me. Jesse? That's what I thought.
That's an interesting situation here. So does the town hold the lien on that?
They're saying they found a tax lien for the town of Pownell from the 70s.
Should we investigate this?
We can.
Table that. Region 10 warrant.
So this year, Vocational Region 10 will have a ballot on June 11th as well. They have to replace what is called the bridge, which is the big cement deck landing that goes in to the school. Right now, and it's outlined on the warrant, we have forgiveness of 39 point something % if the voters approve the bonding loan. If voters turn it down, then voters will still have to fund it at 100%. So there's a little bit of incentive. So this is just the warrant to call the notice of the election that just needs to be countersigned by the select board.
And will we countersign?
I second.
All in favor? Is there a spot?
Yeah, it's not very outlined. Let me cover just, maybe put your name specifically.
We countersigners here?
Yes, right there.
Next item on the agenda is LD 2003 RE Conservation Subdivision Ordinance. We have to wait for Tom on that one.
Probably. Some of the ordinances that are already in are addressing LD 2003. So definition changes, some zoning, performing standards, is in response to LD 2003.
I think the conversation is that there's a suggestion that, you know, we need to move on that, but that we might reject the North Star proposal and move towards a different proposal by the time.
Okay.
We'll table that. Town hall sign. Boy, I've been waiting for this.
So the Recreation Committee did a little bit of work last year and had some discussions about what it might look like. We have already run the conduit, so electrical is ready to go before the parking lot was paved. So I reached out in the manager's listserv and asked if anybody had an RFP, and the town of Lemoyne sent me basically this one. I just changed some names in it. The red on the bottom, I wasn't sure if that language made sense. And then he even had kind of a concept design on the back, so I just changed it to Town of Pownell. This would be a non-backlit sign, so I put some key pieces there that were important. One is it's not backlit, so at nighttime it's not lit up. It's not gonna flash, stream, run. These are sort of my kind of wish list. It would be something that I could log into a computer program real quick and say, select board meeting tonight at 6:30. You know, voting today, 8 to 8, things like that. Conservation Commission meeting tonight at 6:30, things like that on the sign. And just would be visible during the day time. The Recreation Committee suggested it have sort of a framing of Mallet Hall to kind of resemble the shape of the building, like that when you look at the front. Thought that was a pretty good idea, so.
So I'm assuming the Recreation Committee has hiked the ball back to the select board.
Yes, I mean, they did all this and they turned it over to me last year. It has been tabled with change in office staff and elections kind of coming, but now that we have found ourselves with a couple of minutes of breathing room, I have circled back onto some of these projects.
Hey, do you have any thoughts about this? The money's been approved for 3 years?
Yep, the sign ordinance was changed 2 years ago, so we're ready. We just need to.
We just need to put out this RFP.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Yep, are you okay with the language in red? I wasn't sure if you wanted to. Okay, and I'll just pick a submission deadline. I may have it open for like a month and see what happens. See if we get submissions.
I move to approve a request for proposals for a town office electronic sign.
Second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Excellent. Thank you, Becky.
Yes, absolutely.
Next item is the annual town report dedication.
Just putting that feeler out to be thinking about that because I'm getting into really fully drafting the town report now. And remind everybody, don't forget your reports to me as well.
This would be a great opportunity for suggestions from the peanut gallery. Have anybody moved on to a town meeting in the sky that we want to recognize or?
Nothing that pops into my mind, but I would have to think probably a little bit longer about it.
Bruce Caspable. We can start making a list. Bruce, do it.
Sure.
Suprat Street. He's somebody who's still with us.
Mhm. It could be a group as well.
All right, well, let's think about that.
Mhm.
Okay, for homework, the select board has to come back, 3 names. Okay? Can't be on your road. No, like. All right, so I'm going to, propose that next Monday at 6 o'clock, that the Budget Committee, the Capital and Projects Committee, what do we call them now?
Capital Improvement Planning.
Capital Improvement Planning Committee, the Economic Development Committee and the Select Board meet to discuss the
Credit enhancement agreement.
credit enhancement agreement proposal presented to us by Esther Brooks. I guess now we could call it Chandler Brook Properties LLC. At 6 o'clock. So if we would send out emails asking people to participate if they'd like, it'd be a good opportunity to talk about where we are with the TIF and where we want to sort of go. Okay,
I will send emails tomorrow.
is there any other new business? Is there any old business?
I just want to say I'm circling back on the PCWA ARPA infrastructure grant. We had Irving come out to do a site visit in December, but never got the estimate. I got the estimate finally last week, and I have Rinaldi working on doing a site visit. And then I'm gonna go to her and say, would 2 of each suffice? She may still come back and want 3, but again, now that I've found a minute to breathe, I have circled back again on this project.
Wonder if the generator's still running.
Yeah, I hope it's not.
Shut off.
Great.
Going up at the pump station?
Oh, this one.
That was testing, yeah.
Pump station.
Oh.
That was the test. We got our power back about 2:30 this afternoon. Yeah, somewhere in there.
Pass, man. Great. Any other old business? Under old business, we met with the Future Facilities Commission on a joint meeting and approved the work that committee has done wholeheartedly, and they are going to submit their final proposal after the, want to call it a vernal pool site walk. And then the select board is going to have a discussion about how to move that project forward. Now, that committee's work is done. So we'll need to figure out a way to give them time during town meeting if they'd like it, to give a description of the work. And then I think we're gonna have to have some exhibits made so that there'll be a call for the next stage in the project, which would be, depending on what the Future Facilities Commission recommends, whether or not this would be a committee to be more concerned with the design and final presentation to the town. So we'll have to figure out, I guess we have to decide soon if we're going to include funds in this town meeting for the new committee to be able to function. Now, that would be money that would be appropriate to come out of unassigned fund balance. So, am I clear? So if this committee, they were charged with presenting the concept, they've done that
Mhm.
to the select board. Select board approved it. The next step would be to enter into an agreement with an architect for a final design. If we did not approve money this town meeting, then the project would flounder for a year.
Yep.
But I have no way of estimating how much how much to move forward on. $200,000 be too much? So we have a member of the committee here. Do you have any idea what it would cost to?
Off the top of my head, I don't. Budget number quoted about 10%, 5 to 10% of the total cost.
Which right now is at what?
5, 1 for the building, and then what they would do over here would bring us.
That's $600,000.
Yeah, at 10%, but I'm not sure that. I'm not a builder and I'm not, I don't know.
So, what? We don't. If we don't act on this, then the project will be kind of dead in the water. Might not have to pony up 10% of the project, but if there were operating funds for the next committee, I don't know if we can approve money for an unformed committee.
Hmm.
How would that pass the straight face test? Did you have your hand?
Yes, I did.
Sorry,
I think you could still call it the same committee. It just may be made up of different members. Because there are members who want.
Yeah.
But I think you could fund something and say it's for, design phases of it. I'm not sure that we would have to come out with a full set of plans.
Well, my concern is that, Bo was talking about congressional grants and in the need to, during the process of applying for federal grants, there needs to be a straight-faced, the town is moving forward in the project in order to have the grant approved. So, all right, next meeting, I'll investigate. Let's think about a warrant item to include $100,000 from undesignated fund balance for the work of the committee, up to. Then also what came out of that committee was the possibility of having the Future Facilities Committee give a presentation at the end of town meeting and having a straw vote from the town signifying approval of the project as a way to support the grant writing process. Now, I suppose there's some danger in that if the town, a straw vote is merely a survey and not binding, but I think that would be appropriate. So if you would include to bring that up for next meeting, we talked about that at the.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way it went. I think there was some thought that it would be a good idea.
Yeah, okay, so we'll talk about it and I'll see if I can't get clarification from Patrick on that one.
Okay.
Is it possible or advisable to include some of this work that's been done by the committee thus far in public hearings prior to town meeting?
For what purpose?
For the purpose of providing as much information possible prior to possible straw vote. And accept feedback.
Hmm.
I will make the comment that in the meeting, what was very enlightening to me was the extent of how inadequate facilities are now, which I did not know prior to the meeting.
Probably couldn't find a parking spot. He was gonna come to a meeting on Thursday night.
Pull up it.
Yeah.
promised a tour of.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a valet parking only up Thursday. Okay, we'll talk about that. Public hearings are tough. We have so many coming up. I was hoping that they would be willing to present their findings at the town meeting at the end of the meeting.
We could do it like we did last year. You adjourn the town meeting, but then we did in the special town meeting, we did the corridor. But also planning board did a presentation about the conservation subdivision ordinance, but that was after we adjourned, so it wasn't part of the regular town meeting.
We had the straw vote about the rails trail.
Yep, that was after we adjourned. And it was just it was a hand raise, yay or nay. To see what direction, if they wanted trail plus rail, whatever the three options were. Same idea.
The Select board tabled their motion to the committee in Portland, needed
Mhm.
direction from the town.
Correct. I think after the adjournment, those that stay around, they could do a presentation and do a hand raise to just get the pulse.
The issue is, and this is my interpretation, that Bo Chesney said that in order to apply for congressional grants, there would need to be some measure of town approval so that the federal government would see that we are heading in the right direction. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, and I remember him saying that, and I think what he said was, that he thought that maybe going through the design process would show the federal government enough approval. Might wanna check with him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Bo. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little unclear as to, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what we were supposed to do. All right, is there any other old business?
It just occurred, I don't know if this falls under old business or any other business. It occurred to me during the warrant, we did not discuss the Freeport scholarship request. No.
Report Scholarship Fund asked for $10,000. What do we think about that? Should we put that on the warrant and let the town decide? That's the safe way.
I think it should be on the warrant because I think it will be interesting to see what the school budget is like.
How are they connected?
Well, I guess not. I don't know.
I move that we put on the,
It was noteworthy to me that I don't think there have been any Pownell recipients of that scholarship.
that'll be, I'm sure, part of the conversation. I move that we put the RSU 5 scholarship request for $10,000 on the town warrant. You second that?
I second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on favor? Becky?
Is it going to be taxation?
That would be a kick in the pants, wouldn't it?
Can it come from unassigned fund? I don't know if it falls under our criteria.
It'll have to come from taxation.
Okay.
Let the town vote. I mean, I can't remember the lady's name.
Stephanie Payne.
Let the town decide. Feel like Pontius Pilate. All in favor? All opposed? Oh. What are you doing?
It doesn't happen. We have to table it to the next meeting when I think you have 3 to vote.
All right, they're tabled.
Okay.
Because ever happened.
Wait, does the tie go to the town administrator?
All right. The coup d'etat. Any correspondence? Yes.
I have 2. First, I am happy to report that we got full approval of our TIF district that was voted on in special town meeting from the state. The email that came from the state was very complimentary to Isabel Oxley and IOV Community Planning, who did a lot of the work. She said it was a very well thought out, detailed, highly organized application, and just, really praised her. So we thank Isabel and IOV Community Planning for their hard work there. The second piece was we had Powell Elementary School Kindergarten visit us last week. They are doing a history of Maine and they focused on Pownell that day. So Jessica Brown drove them to different places. They came and met Pascal and I and learned about things we do at the counter, but then took a tour of the old building and just learned a little bit about that. So that was probably the highlight of our last couple of weeks at the office, was to get a visit. Great group of kids. They were just polite, seemed eager and happy to be there, asked a lot of great questions, and it was a great class. Yeah. It was, yeah.
Pascal on her best behavior.
She was. I did not come into any emails about Casella, although I heard there were a lot of missed pickups through the grapevine. Again.
Well, under correspondence, I have to tally this. I had 18 phone calls about dirt roads and plowing. I had 6 phone calls about trash pickup. I had 2 phone calls, just general irate citizens about sort of the state of the union.
Okay.
And 1 phone call, I'm sure, it was about the tinfoil hat. But I had a total of 24 phone calls last week. And my wife is going to shut down. So, but I think the road crew did a wonderful job with the roads, and I appreciate their coordination with the fire department where some roads they couldn't get at, so.
That was a rough storm. The road commissioner said the freezing rain line was about Hodston Road. So anything Hodston Road to Freeport was just ice, and anything on the other side was sleet. I know at my house, I had 5 inches of sleet on the Brunswick-Durham line. I mean, it was cement, how they made it through and kept the roads as good as they did. I mean, that's a good team. It's a lot of work.
Okay, any other business? Kate,
I move that we adjourn.
in favor?